Yes, people, how we doing? So, a lot of news to round up from this week. First of all, let's get straight into things. We've got the AJ versus Christian Prenga undercard has finally been announced after what feels like waiting forever for this card to be announced. So let's take a look at what we've got going on. We've got Anthony Joshua versus Christian Prenga, obviously the main event. AJ, to me, interviews I've seen, it looks like this version of AJ looks the most determined I've seen in years. And do I think he's going to become a three-time world champion? I'm not entirely sure. However, what I can say is I really do think AJ. This is like the final run for AJ. It's almost if he can't do it now, he'll never be able to do it again. So I mean, it seems a bit obvious, but it seems like he's just thought, you know what? Let's just give it one last run, and he's going to give it all. Obviously with Team Usyk. The undercard's a little bit more interesting, however. I mean, there's only 2 fights in this undercard I'm actually really bothered about, to be honest. The rest are just, I think they're just name fillers. But the fight that interests me the most is Josh Kelly versus Kameen Adjiarco. This fight is going to be an absolute barnstormer. It's going to be such a good fight. Obviously, I'll be supporting Josh Kelly just because he's my all-time favourite boxer. I've mentioned this a few times now. I mean, I'm going to do a full prediction next week. Next week on this full card. Well, not the full card, sorry, the 3 fights that anybody actually cares about. We've got Josh Kelly versus Kameen Adjiarco. Adjiarco finally getting his world title shot after having the final eliminator cancelled earlier this year. And Josh Kelly looking for that first defence out in Riyadh. Really looking forward to that fight. I think it's going to be an absolute cracker. Next on the undercard, in the chief support, we've got Hamza Shiraz taking on Simon Zeckenhuber. I mean, look, a lot of people are clowning this fight. I mean, I understand, look, it's not the level opposition. This Simon Zeckenhuber isn't on the same level as Hamza Shiraz. Look, I understand that. But I think what this signifies to me is they're looking to get Hamza Shiraz out and then having one more later in the year, maybe a bigger fight later in the year. Because look, I'd rather Hamza Shiraz fight a Simon Zeckenhuber and blast through him as well like he did Alan Begic. And then come that fight at the end of the year with another fight. Like, I'd rather see Hamza Shiraz fight than not see Hamza Shiraz fight. Although the quality, as I say, the quality isn't on the Hamza Shiraz level, but I'd rather see him fight and stay active than just choose to sit on the shelf and wait for a big fight. Simon Zeckenhuber, last time out, he lost on the Tyson Fury undercard. I can't remember what the fella's name was now. I remember his second name was August. But funny enough about Simon Zeckenhuber, that is who Troy Williamson was meant to fight on the Tyson Fury undercard. Obviously, Troy Williamson couldn't fight on that because of the Callum Simpson rematch. However, it would have been really interesting to see had Troy Williamson won that fight. He could be fighting for the world title right now, you know. And maybe if Troy Williamson comes through, knocks out Callum Simpson, then I think we could see Troy Williamson versus Hamza Shiraz later this year. But like I say, I'm going to do a full video on this as well, breaking down them fights, analysing them, and doing a proper prediction. So, without further ado, let's move on to the next topic. Next topic I want to talk about is the Itauma versus Hrgovic undercard has been announced. So what we've got, Most Itauma versus Filip Hrgovic. Brilliant fight. Like I say, I'll do a video on this closer to the time. But the undercard's just been announced, instant reaction. We've got Sam Noakes taking on, sorry, I'm going to butcher this name, but Denis Berinchyk. Denis Berinchyk, he is a former world title, former world champion, sorry. He actually beat Emmanuel Navarrete, who obviously right now is really highly rated at the minute in the boxing world. Won that for the WBO lightweight title, then lost it to Keyshawn Davis, the fight later. Coming up against Sam Noakes, it's a difficult fight for Sam Noakes. It is. But I think it's this fight that Sam Noakes can come through. But yeah, really good fight, really good matchmaking for that one. I really like that fight. Next up, we've got Konstantin Nursu taking on Ben Vaughn. Look, I understand it from Ben Vaughn's point of view. You're fighting on a massive card, but for me, it's not really a step up for Konstantin Nursu. I think he could have probably found tougher opposition. Ben Vaughn has a record of 12-2. his loss is coming to Echo Westerman, who's widely well known. Off his fights with Jack Rafferty and Jack Catterall. He also lost to Bobby Dalton, who got a lot of time for Bobby. I think Bobby's a brilliant boxer. From just down the road from me. He's from Middlesbrough. I'm from Sunderland. So I've got a lot of respect for Bobby, and Bobby's a brilliant boxer. But I think from Konstantin Urasu's point of view, I understand he's defending the British or the Commonwealth. This might be mandatory. I'm not really sure. I haven't read into it that much. But yeah, I think he could have probably found maybe more tough opposition. But look, he's still early in his career. He's only 26 years old. I think this might be the last fight, and then he might look to push on to that European level. Next, Andy Ruiz's comeback fight has been confirmed September 4th in Newark, taking on Damian Kaneba on Friday the 4th of September, like I said. I'm interested to see Andy Ruiz's comeback, because Damian Kaneba is the one who just recently fought Adji Kabayel. Got stopped by him over in Germany. I'm actually intrigued. Where do they have 2 seconds? I'm going to take a look at BoxRec, and I'm going to see where they rank. Right, Damian Kaneba is ranked 44th in the world, according to BoxRec. You know, you've got names like Dillian White, Hughie Fury, Christian Prenga, all above that. So it's not really... I mean, we'll have to see how Andy Ruiz comes back, because we don't know what sort of shape he's going to be in. I mean, we know what sort of shape Andy Ruiz is going to be in, but we don't know how powerful that he's going to be anymore. But that's why it's so interesting. That's why I love the sport. For the thrills and the unknown. And final little bit of news, I think, to round up. We've got Ben Whittaker has been ordered to collide with Conor Wallace in an IBF final title eliminator. The IBF title at light heavyweight is currently held by Dimitri Bivol still. Taking on Conor Wallace, I haven't really seen much of Conor Wallace. I mean, to be honest, I haven't seen any of Conor Wallace. Doesn't look like he's really fought anyone of any real note, to be honest. I don't recognise any of the names on his record. According to BoxRec, he's a southpaw, which would be interesting to see. I'm pretty sure it was Jimmy Rivera. No, I don't think Jimmy Rivera was a southpaw, was he? Don't think so. But look, if he's got himself highly ranked in the IBF, I'll be really interested to see how he looks against Ben Whittaker, because I really rate Ben Whittaker. I rate Ben Whittaker really highly. I think he will be a world champion without a shadow of a doubt. So I am really interested to see how Ben Whittaker does in that. It's going to be in Birmingham as well, so a nice homecoming from. Something else I want to talk about is Shakur Stevenson going to Zuffa. Now, we're going to all sit here and act surprised. Realistically, we all know that Shakur Stevenson was going to Zuffa. Obviously, he was signed off Matchroom, but he wasn't really a Matchroom fighter, so to speak. It was kind of, I'll sign off Matchroom for a couple of fights and reevaluate. It wasn't like Eddie brought him up or anything like that. So, I mean, I've seen Eddie Hearn interview. He seems quite butthurt over it, to be honest. As you could probably imagine with the thing he's got going on with Dana White. So, yeah. I mean, I don't really see the fights for Shakur, but I do think Zuffa are going to sign a lot more lightweights. I think I can see Devin Haney going over there. I can see Ryan Garcia going over there. Well, Ryan Garcia basically is over there, and let's be real. You can fight Conor Ben. There's a lot of good. I say there's a lot of good fights. I mean, there could be. I mean, like we said, there could be a good few fights if Zuffa continued on the way they're going to continue on. So, well, it's just going to be one of those we'll have to wait and see. I think Shakur's going to maybe a bit of a step down fight first. I can't see him going straight into a head first collision fight like they did with Conor Ben. I mean, like they did with Conor Ben, as in fighting a bit of a lower opposition and then building that back up. And also, Johnny Fisher's going over there. I mean, I've seen Eddie Hearn say it. I mean, look, I think this Johnny Fisher going to Zuffa is a lot different to Conor Ben going to Zuffa, because, as Johnny Fisher says, he's sort of been respectful to Eddie Hearn. He's told him throughout the full process, and there's no bad blood there. It was just a simple case of Johnny wanted to get a few wins under his belt, and Eddie couldn't give them fights on his own, which is fair enough. And he's earning about 6 times the amount of money, so it is what it is, isn't it? So yeah, that's everything for today. I'll make a video on the AJ Prenga undercard predictions and also most of the time with Hrgovic predictions. So look out for them. I'll catch you all in a bit.